So I've been doing graffiti for the most part without a crew for well over a decade at this point, and there is a big difference between solo graffiti bombing and bombing with a crew that has your back. So if you don't want to end up talking to 4 police officers like what happened to me over in Australia, then stick around, because today we're going to be talking about the top 4 most important things I think you can do to stay safe as a solo graffiti writer. Just to start out, obviously in this video you're going to see some clips of graffiti writers and artists doing their thing. I just want to make sure everyone knows I'm not endorsing illegal graffiti in any capacity. All the graffiti writers you see in this video have made the choice themselves to do that, and a lot of times there's some really negative consequences that go along with that choice. So today we're just looking at how they do that. Number 1, the first most important thing to remember as a solo graffiti writer is you need to understand the relationship between the amount of risk or heat you can take on and the number of people a graffiti writer is bombing with. More specifically, it is an inverse relationship. This means that the more people you have doing a mission, the more risky or heated spots you can paint, because you have more eyes on lookout, more people to make sure everything goes right. As a solo writer, it's the exact opposite. Solo graffiti artists need to be a lot more unassuming and quiet because they don't have as much visibility and knowledge that you get with a full crew on a mission. Number 2, and for number 2, along those same lines, because solo writers don't have those eyes on lookout and whatnot, it becomes extra important to know your spots. So this can entail a couple different things. A lot of solo writers say it's really important to know your entry and exit points, especially in train yards or something like that, whatever spot they're trying to paint, and also knowing your sight lines. I really like that one, but there's one thing people get wrong about knowing your sight lines. It's not just about where you can see and the different entry and exit points and whatnot that you can see from where you are. Solo graph artists who are good at that have a very good understanding of exactly where people can see them from as well. That's a big difference there. Number 3, and one of the biggest things that I always personally advocate for all graffiti artists, but especially for solo graffiti writers, is don't start beef. Now, like I said, I've been doing graph for basically a decade and a half at this point, and I've never had beef with anyone. A lot of people don't believe me when I say that, but you gotta remember, beef is always a two-way street, so there's been a lot of pissants who think they have beef with me over the years, but if you're not worried about it, it's honestly not that big a deal, and usually the fire gets put out pretty quickly. The less energy you're spending on beef, the more energy you can put into perfecting your craft, advancing, and if you were a solo graffiti writer, the more time you can put into just plain getting up. That being said, a lot of graffiti artists who do have beef need to protect themselves, and that is especially hard to do as a solo writer. So the best thing you can do to protect yourself is just don't get into any beef. Number 4, and the last reason is really just knowing all the really dumb things that other graffiti writers have done to get caught. The list goes on and on there, but if you hypothetically don't want that to be you, then check out the top 5 dumbest things graffiti writers have done to get caught, so that, again, that hypothetically wouldn't happen to you. You can check that video out right now. I'll see you over there. Thanks as always to the patrons supporting on the Patreon page. I'll see you over there. Peace.